Sorry about that. Welcome to our last bonus class of QFS program. I'm extremely excited to go over. We're going to actually read Decision by Bob Proctor. So I'm going to start, and one of our lovely students will maybe kick in. So Decision by Bob Proctor. There is a single mental move you can make which in a millisecond will solve enormous problems for you. It has the potential to improve almost any personal or business situation you will ever encounter. And it could literally propel you down the path to incredible success. You have a name for this magic mental activity. It is called decision. Decisions, or the lack of them, are responsible for the breaking or making of many a career. Individuals who have become very proficient at making decisions without being influenced by the opinions of others are the same people whose annual incomes fall into the 6 and 7 figure category. However, it is not just your income that is affected by decisions. Your whole life is dominated by this power. The health of your mind and body, the well-being of your family, your social life, the type of relationships you develop, all are dependent upon the ability to make sound decisions. You would think anything as important as decision making, when it has such far-reaching power, would be taught in every school, but it's not. To compound the problem, not only is decision making missing from the curriculum of our educational institutions, up until now, or up until recently, it's also been absent from most of the corporate training and human resource programs available. So, how is a person expected to develop this mental ability? Quite simply, you must do it on your own. However, I think it's important to understand that it is not difficult to learn how to make wise decisions. Armed with the proper information and by subjecting yourself to certain disciplines, you can become a very effective decision maker. Does anybody want to take over?
I can. I don't mind.
Awesome.
Okay, perfect. You can virtually eliminate conflict and, oh, by the way, thanks, Pam, for reading. You can virtually eliminate conflict and confusion in your life by becoming proficient at making decisions. Decision making brings order to your mind, and of course, this order is then reflected in your objective world, your results. James Allen may have been thinking of decisions when he wrote, "We think in secret and it comes to pass. Environment is but our looking glass. No one can see you making decisions, but they will almost always see the results of your decisions." The person who fails to develop their ability to make decisions is doomed because indecision sets up internal conflicts which can, without warning, escalate into all-out mental and emotional wars. Psychiatrists have named a name to describe these internal wars. It is ambivalence. My Oxford Dictionary tells me that ambivalence is the coexistence in one person opposite of opposite feelings toward the same objective. You do not require a doctorate degree in psychiatry to understand that you are going to have difficulty in your life by permitting your mind to remain in an ambivalent state for any period of time. The person to who does permit it to exist will become very despondent and virtually incapable of any type of productive activity. It is obvious that anyone who finds themselves in such a mental state is not living. At best, they are merely existing. A decision or a series of decisions would change everything.
Mm.
Basic law of the universe is create or disintegrate. Did I say that right? Disintegrate?
Yep. Yep.
Indecision causes disintegration. How often have you heard a person say, I don't know what to do? How often have you heard yourself say, what should I do? Think about some of the indecisive feelings you and virtually everyone on this planet experience from time to time. Love them, leave them, quit, stay, do it, don't do it. Go bankrupt, no, don't. Go to work, watch TV. Buy it, don't buy it. Say it, don't say it. Tell them, don't tell them. Everyone on occasion has experienced these feelings of ambivalence. If it happens to you frequently, decide right now to stop it. The cause of ambivalence is indecision, but we must keep in mind that the truth is not always in the appearance of things. Indecision is a cause of ambivalence. However, it is a secondary cause. It is not the primary cause. I have been studying the behavior of people who have become very proficient at making decisions for over a quarter century. They all have one thing in common. They have a very strong self-image, a high degree of self-esteem. They may be as different as night is today in numerous other respects, but they certainly possess confidence. Low self-esteem or lack of confidence is the real culprit here. Decision makers are not afraid of making an error if and when they make an error in their decision or fail at something. They have the ability to shrug it off. They learn from the experience, but they will never submit to the failure. Pass.
Awesome. Oddly, you don't have to read if you don't want to, but would you like to?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Awesome.
Every decision maker was either fortunate enough to have been raised in an environment where decision making was a part of their upbringing, or they developed the ability themselves at a later date. They are aware of something that everyone who hopes to live a full life must understand. Decision making is something you cannot avoid.
Mm.
That is the cardinal principle of decision making. Decide right where you are with whatever you've got. This is precisely why most people never master this important aspect of life. They permit their resources to dictate if and when a decision will or can be made. When John Kennedy asks Werner von Braun what it would be like to build a rocket that would carry a man to the moon and return him safely to Earth, his answer was simple and direct: the will to do it. President Kennedy never asked if it was possible. He never asked if they could afford it or any of 1,000 other questions, all of which would have, at that time, been valid questions. President Kennedy made a decision. He said, "We will put a man on the moon and return him safely to Earth before the end of the decade." The fact that it has never, sorry?
And they did it.
Yeah. The fact that it had never been done before in all the hundreds of thousands of years of human history was not even a consideration. He decided where he was with what he had. The objective was accomplished in his mind the second he made the decision. It was only a matter of time, which is governed by natural law, before the goal was manifested in the form for the whole world to see. I was, just hours ago, in an office with 3 people. We were discussing the purchase of shares in a company. I was selling, they were buying. After a reasonable amount of time, one of the partners asked me when I wanted a decision. I replied, "Right now." I said, "You already know what you want to do." There was some decision about money. I pointed out that the money was nothing to do with it. Once you've made a decision, you will find the money every time. If that is the only benefit you receive from this particular message on decision making, burn it into your minds. It will change your life.
Mm.
I explained to two of these people that I never let money enter my mind when I am deciding whether I will or will not do something. Whether I can afford it or not is never a consideration. Whether I want to or not is not the only consideration. You can afford anything. There is an infinite supply of money. All of the money in the world is available to you when the decision is firmly made. If you need money, you will attract it. I am well aware there are any number of people who will say that it is absurd. You can't just decide to do something if you do not have the necessary resources. And that's fine if that is the way they choose to think. I see that as a very limited way of thinking. In truth, it probably is not thinking at all. It is very likely an opinion being expressed that was inherited from another older member of their family who did not think either. Thinking is very important. Decision makers are great thinkers. Do you ever give much consideration to your thoughts? How they affect the various aspects of your life? Although this should be one of the most serious considerations, for many people it is not. There is a very small select few who make any attempt to control or govern their thoughts. Anyone who has made a study of the great thinkers, the great decision makers, the achievers of history, will know they very rarely agreed on anything when it came to the study of human life. However, there was one point on which they were in complete and unanimous agreement, and that was we are what we think about.
Mm. What do you think about? You and I must realize that our thoughts ultimately control every decision we make. You are a sum total of your thoughts. By taking charge this very minute, you can guarantee yourself a good day. Refuse to let unhappy, negative people or circumstances affect you. The greatest stumbling block you will ever encounter when making important decisions in your life is circumstance. We let circumstance get us off the hook when we should be giving it everything we've got. More dreams are shattered and goals lost because of circumstance than in any other single factor. How often have you caught yourself saying, I would like to do or have this, but I can't because whatever follows because is the circumstance. Circumstances may cause a detour in your life, but you should never permit to them to stop you from making important decisions. Napoleon Hill said, circumstances, I make them. The next time you hear someone say they would like a vacation in Paris or purchase a particular automobile, but they can't because they have no money, explain they don't need the money until they make a decision to go to Paris or purchase that car. When the decision is made, they will figure out a way to get the amount needed. They always do. Many disguided individuals try something once or twice, and if they do not hit the bullseye, they feel they are a failure. Failing does not make anyone a failure, but quitting most certainly does, and quitting is a decision. By following that form of reasoning, you would have to say when you make a decision to quit, you make a decision to fail. Every day in America, you hear about a baseball player singing a contract or signing a contract. I missed the end there, which will pay him a few $1,000,000 a year. You should try to keep in mind that some players miss the ball more often than he hits it when he steps on to the plate. Everyone remembers Babe Ruth for the 714 home runs he hit, and they really mentioned that he struck out 1,330 times. It's just I want to stop here for a second. That's just like the story I was mentioning with to Minnie earlier. Mr. Colonel Sanders for KFC, when he first started out, before he even had his franchises going, some of his friends told him, or I think they were close friends and family, told him that you have a really good chicken recipe, you should sell it. And he contemplated that thought, and he's like, yeah, maybe I should. So he started going around the neighborhood to different restaurants and places and talking to him about his chicken recipe and asking for a commission if they sold it, right? And after 1,000 people said no, he finally got the yes he needed, and look where he is today, right? And he's many franchises. There's KFC blew right up. There's lots of them. Anyways, so yeah, so they never mentioned that Babe Ruth struck out this many times. They only mentioned that he had this many home runs. So never look at the moral of that is that never give up, because you're 3 feet from gold. Basically, you're 3 feet from gold. One of my mentors says that quite a bit. Not recently, but used to say it all the time. And it's really true, because if we allow that conflict to really set us back, then it's not going to bring us the best decisions that we need to make. We're just going to see circumstance all the time, right? So I understand what he's talking about right there. So Charles F. Kittering said that, I quote, "When you're inventing, if you flunk 99 times and succeed once, you're in." That is true of just about any activity you can name, but the world will soon forget your failures in light of your achievements. Don't worry about failing. It will toughen you up and get you ready for your big win. Winning is a decision. Many years ago, Helen Keller was asked if she thought there was anything worse than being blind. She quickly replied that there was something much worse. She said that the most pathetic person in the world is a person who has their sight but no vision. I agree with Helen Keller. At 91, J.C. Penney was asked how his eyesight was. He replied that his sight was failing, but his vision had never been better. That is really great, isn't it? When a person has no vision of a better way of life, they automatically shut themselves into a prison. They limit themselves to a life without hope. This frequently happens when a person has seriously tried on a number of occasions to win, only to meet with failure time after time. Repeated failure can damage a person's self-image and cause them to lose sight of their potential. They therefore make a decision to give up and resign themselves to their fate. Take the first step in predicting your own prosperous future, building a mental picture of exactly how you would like to live. Make a firm decision to hold on to that vision, and positive ways to improve everything will begin to flow into your mind. Many people get a beautiful vision of how they would like to live, but because they cannot see how they were going to make it all happen, they let their vision go. If they knew how they were going to get it or do it, they would have a plan, not a vision. There is no inspiration in a plan, but there sure is in a vision. When you get the vision, freeze frame it. with a decision and don't worry about how you will do it or where the resources will come from. Charge your decision with enthusiasm. That is important. Refuse to worry about how it will happen. Minnie, would you like to take over?
For sure. All right, advanced decision making. Woo. We make advanced bookings to, or sorry, I'll let you scroll.
Okay,
Okay.
here you go.
We make advanced bookings when we fly somewhere. Is quite common. We make advanced reservations to eliminate any confusion or problems when the time arrives for the journey. We do the same thing when renting a car. For some reason, think of the problems you will eliminate by making many by making many of the decisions you must make well in advance. I'll give you an excellent example. As I am preparing this message, it is Ramadan. Oh, shout out to Ramadan. It's almost Ramadan again. At a time where all practicing Muslims fast. I was in an office yesterday in Kuala Lumpur.
Lampard, I think.
Okay, thanks, Pat. And was asked if I would like a cup of tea or coffee. I replied, I would appreciate a cup of tea. The lady next to me was then asked if she would like a cup, and she replied, no, I'm fasting. When she was asked, she did not have to decide whether she wanted anything or not, whether she was thirsty or not was not a consideration. A decision had previously been made, and her advanced decision was well tempered with discipline. The exact same concept works with a person when they are on a diet to release weight. Their decisions are made in advance. If they are offered a big slice of chocolate cake, they don't have to say, geez, that looks good. I wonder if I should. The decision is already made in advance. I made a decision a long time ago that I would not participate in discussions of why something cannot be done. The only compensation you will ever receive for participating in or giving energy to that type of discussion is something you do not want. I always find it amazing at the number of seemingly intelligent people who persist in dragging you into these negative brainstorming sessions. In one breath,
No, excuse me.
these people tell you they seriously want to accomplish a particular objective, and in the next breath, they begin talking about why they can't. They think of how much more of life they would enjoy by making a decision that they will no longer participate in that type of negative energy. The humanistic psychologist Dr. Abraham Maslow, who devoted his life to studying self-actualized people, stated very clearly that we should follow our inner guide and not be swayed by the opinion of others or outside circumstances. Maslow's research showed that the decision makers in life had a number of things in common. Most importantly, they did work they felt was worthwhile and important. They found work a pleasure, and there was little distinction between work and play. Dr. Maslow said, to be self-actualized, you must not only be doing work you consider to be important, you must do it well and enjoy it. Bars. Shout out to Dr. Maslow.
Yes.
Right. Dr. Maslow recorded that these superior performers had values, those qualities in their personalities they considered to be worthwhile and important. Their values were not imposed by society, parents, or other people in their lives. They did make their own decisions, like their work. They choose to develop their values themselves. Pass.
Did you want to read again or?
Sure. Your life is important. And at its best, life is short. You have the potential to do anything you choose and to do it well, but you must make decisions. And when the time for decision arrives, you must make your decision where you are with what you've got. Let, let me leave you with the words of two great decision makers, William James and Thomas Edison. William James suggested that compared to what we ought to be, we are making use of only a small part of our physical and mental resources. Stating this concept broadly, the human individual thus lives far within his limits. He possesses powers of various sorts, which he habitually fails to use. Years later, Thomas Edison said, and I quote, "If we all did the things we are capable of doing, we would literally astound ourselves."
Hmm.
By making a simple decision, the greatest minds of the past are available to you. You can literally learn how to turn your wildest dreams into reality. Put this valuable information to use and recognize the greatness which exists within you. You have limitless resources of potential and ability waiting to be developed. Start today. There is there is never any time better than the present. Be all that you are capable of being.
Well, that's it. Huh? That's a great. What do you guys think of that? Eh? Pretty good, eh?
That hit home, Pam. This is exactly where I am in my life right now. Thank you. It's funny, we were talking about the cleaning business and everything right before, and like failure, and like this was great. I'm glad we read this. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. So the next one, I'm probably going to just send this one out to you guys, confidence, okay, in the email. But I want to go ahead and watch this video again with you.
Could you?
I think we watched it once before, but yes,
Is
this
it
is a great
one?
video, and it's really good to close out the program nicely.
Yeah. Christian, could you send us the decisions as well?
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Thank you.
I do suggest that if you're going to really study this, read them every day. Read them every day because it'll help you, and it brings in different thoughts when you're starting to read these things daily. It's quite the thing, actually. Okay. I'll wait till you're sitting over here. Are you busy?
Oh, I actually have to run to the bathroom real quick. Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah. Go to the bathroom. We're recording.
I'll be quick.
Okay. So while she's at the bathroom, oddly, we could set up our call, so we can discuss some goals and some things that you're working towards as well.
Okay. I'm available tomorrow at any time.
Tomorrow, what's tomorrow look like?
Okay. And then I'm working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I'm working Monday, Tuesday day, so I won't be home till about 9 o'clock my time, which I believe is 4 p.m. your time.
Okay.
So
Is that too late for you to get on like a half an hour call quickly, or?
no, we can do that. We can do that. So that's Monday and Tuesday.
Okay, let's go Tuesday then, because Tuesday is a little more open for me. Monday is getting crowded. I got quite the calls set up there on Mondays. So.
Okay. Okay. We'll do Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Probably 4 p.m. or maybe a wee bit later. I'll like I said, depends on the buses. So maybe 4:15 would be easier. Give me more time to get back in.
Okay, awesome.
What did you say, Pam? If it's not in the calendar, it's what?
If it's not in the calendar, it doesn't exist. it's something that I learned last year, and I was like, that really hit home for me, because I was really trying to manage my tasks and the things that I was doing. And since I've really planted that into my mind, I write more things down so that I don't forget things, and I'm managing my tasks better. I get everything done now, which is great. But so that really helped me. I hope it'll help you guys too. So if you didn't catch that, Oddly, if it's not in the schedule, it doesn't exist.
Right, okay.
All right. So this is just an 11-minute video. I did prepare a doc. It's just got a couple audios on there to close everything out. There's one on consistency, and then there's another short audios. There's no homework or anything. It's just something that you guys can listen to. All right.
And then
You guys can
who
hear that?
am I?
Awesome.
Yeah.
The average individual hasn't got the foggiest idea who they are. They really don't know who they are. They hear that they're God's highest form of creation. What does that really mean? That means I'm more than the trees or the squirrels or something like that. We're created in God's image. Now, I'm not teaching religion. I'm not qualified to do it. And I don't even want you to get the idea that I'm trying to. But I'll tell you this. We are truly created in God's image. Now, the problem most of us have, we got that equation reversed, and we created God in our image. And that causes any amount of trouble. Well, you got to get this straightened out. Who am I? When I started studying this, I couldn't have answered that question. I said, what do you mean, who am I? I'm Bob. What are you talking about? You know who I am. But I'm not Bob. I'm not. That's my name, but that's not me. Say, well, this is me. No, this isn't me. This is my body. My body. You've never heard anyone say, am hand. We don't say that. We say, my hand, my leg, my head, my name. But that's not me. Now, you see, most individuals, they never entertain what I've just said. They don't let that run around their mind. Who am I? Listen, if I'm going to act like the person I want to become, I better know who I am. I was, I will. Every now and then I get ideas and have to digress. I was standing way back in the back corner of the room at the O'Hare Hyatt. This is way back years ago, the late 60s. I was very shy. I had low self-esteem, but I was very shy. If I was with a group of people just the size maybe at one table, I wouldn't ask a question. I would just sit there. I would never speak up. I would be quiet. I would never hold up my hand to volunteer to do anything. I was shy. Well, what does that mean? I had very low self-esteem. I had a low opinion of myself. I had the strongest desire to teach this. As odd as it may seem, I was doing very well with this poor image. It was a poor image socially, but I started and I developed my image. We have an image in many different ways. That's why Gurdjieff talks about the many eyes of the personality. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I do this. Well, I wanted to teach this. You see, when Diane was saying the story about me with the guy in the cassette where I was so embarrassed, I didn't want to be a speaker. Earl Nightingale was not a speaker. He would speak. I speak, and they pay me a lot of money sometimes to do it. But that I don't see myself as a speaker. I never have. It's not something I wanted to do. But I had an enormous desire to teach this. Yet it was so good. And I'm thinking it's essential. People got to learn this. And I knew it very well. And I didn't wonder it worked. I knew it worked. I did it. Yet, like the Wright brothers didn't care who said you can't fly. They said, I know I can, I just did. You see? And it's a different thing. So I'm in the back of the room, and Bill Gove has a handheld mic, and he's standing there. There's about 1,000 people in the room, 500 here, 500 there. It was a middle aisle. He was standing here. Bill Gove was the best speaker I ever heard. Man was phenomenal. And he became very good friends. Anyway, I didn't even know him. But I'm in the back corner, and he's standing here. He's got his hand up. And he said, if I want to be free, I've got to be me. If I want to be free, I've got to be me. Not the me I think my wife thinks I should be. Not the me I think my kids think I should be. If I want to be free, I've got to be me. Not the me I think you think I should be. If I want to be free, I got to be me. Now he said, I better know who me is. I'm in the back of the room and I'm thinking, God, this guy's so good at this. I could only do that. If I could only do that. Well, in Earl Nightingale's Lead the Field, the first recording is on additive. And at one point on that recording, he said, now right here we come to a rather strange fact. We tend to minimize the things we can do, the goals we can accomplish, and for some equally strange reason, we think others can do things that we cannot. He said, I want you to realize that that is not true, that you have deep reservoirs of talent and ability. And I'm listening to that, and if you said, you understand that? I said, of course I understand it. I didn't understand it at all. I bet I had listened to that at least 1,000 times, maybe 2. For years, I'd been listening to it. Here he is saying, if I want to be free. And I've been thinking, if only I could do that. He can, but I can't. You know. And all of a sudden, that damn record started to play in my head. Now, right here, we come to a rather strange fact. We tend to minimize the things. That's what he's talking about. That's what he's talking about. That moment, I became aware of the truth in what I'd been listening to for a few years. Our problem is we have been trained to read the book and then we think we've got it. You could read the book and not have it at all. If you read the same thing over and over and over and you're relaxed and you look at it and you think, what did he really mean? Get into their head. Understand what they're saying. I didn't understand it. I thought I did because I'd listen so often. I made up my mind right then. I not only going to learn it, I was going to get him to teach me. And Bill Gove became my mentor, my coach. And he taught me how to do what I'm doing right now. Now, I don't speak anything like Bill Gove. He was the Frank Sinatra of speakers. I don't speak anything like him. You see, he didn't teach me anything about speaking. He taught me something about me. He taught me to be totally comfortable talking to you. That's all I had to do. If I'm very comfortable talking to you, I will express whatever I want to express. I'll share what's inside. Most people are not comfortable in public speaking because their focus is all on themselves. All they're thinking about is themselves. They're thinking, I wonder what she thinks of me. Wonder what he thinks. Wonder if they like what I'm doing. Do they like my tie? Is my shirt, you know? The focus is all on self. You couldn't possibly be effective doing that. I've got one focus. I want you to understand this like I do, and I will do everything that comes to my mind. I will say whatever comes into my mind if I think it'll help you understand it. Well, what I really had to get was that if Bill could do it, Bob could do it. All I wanted to do was do it. I just wanted to do this. Some of you are going to fall in love with this. You'll really fall in love with it. It's so easy to do because you see, I think you are genetically programmed to want to help people. I believe that. I believe you're programmed to want to help people. There's something in you. There's a gene in you, or possibly there's a part of every gene in you, everyone, that you want to help people. Now, if we don't take time to understand who we are, if I don't take time to understand who I am, it won't much matter where I'm going. It won't much matter who I'm doing it with. Because I'm living in ignorance about the most important thing in the world, who I am. There's something absolutely phenomenal locked up in you, right in your core of your being. And this is the truth. If you can see it here, you can hold it here. If you can entertain the idea, you can cause it to move into form because you are in harmony or can be in harmony with the laws that govern your being. You can get in harmony with God's laws, and when you do, then you can make anything happen. Anything. People say, well, there's limits. Well, if that's what you think, then there will be.
Excellent. Well, that's that video. What time are we at? 2:06. When did we start? We started late, eh? How long have we been at it for?
Hasn't been long. 40 minutes maybe?
40 minutes? Okay. We won't have time to watch the other video unless it's shorter than, let's see here. Unless you guys have more time, but
How long is it?
This one we watched here before, but he was talking about living in the ignorance. So I thought it'd be just really good to throw this one on here as well. It's
Sure, put it on.
how about you, Audie? You have time?
Yeah, I've got time.
Okay, awesome. Like I said, I think we watched this one in a previous lesson, but it's always good to have a refresher.
Now watch this. Watch this as it builds. There's your conscious mind. That's the part of you that thinks. That's where your dreams come from. You turn the dreams over to the subjective mind. When you do that, you stir emotions that are in every cell of your body, and that causes you to act. When you act, the universe reacts. And when the reaction and the action come together, that alters the conditions, the circumstance, and environment in your life. Now, we call that the results. The action, there's your attraction. The traction is the universe reacting. It does the only thing it can do. It operates by law. It attracts to you what you're in harmony with. You're attracted to what you're in harmony with. Now, that is an important visual there. It's very important because that is the creative process that you're following in your life, regardless of whether the results are good or bad. That's exactly what's happening. And we must understand that. Now let's look here for a moment. The X represents the paradigm. The X conditioning represents the subconscious conditioning. As you're watching this from home, I would recommend you take a pen and a piece of paper and mark it down and play it over again as we go through it. It's important that you burn this into your mind. Now, this came about, what I'm going to show you, as a result of a person asking me a question.
Thomas
asked
having
me if
some
I would
problem
help
with his
him. I'm going
nose.
back a
It
few
sounds
years.
like.
So I said, well, I will if I can. I met him in a Ramada Hotel on Dixie Road in Toronto. I can still see me doing this. And when we talked, I was trying to explain what was happening. So I said, well, look at it this way. And I took a napkin that was on the table, a paper napkin. There's been many deals struck on napkins in hotels. Well, that's where this came from. Now, that X controls your vibration. There's a power flowing into your consciousness, and you build thoughts out of it, and you will build X-type thoughts, because X-type thoughts are involved with the vibration you're in. So they're in harmony. That's what you call comfort. That's the comfort zone. You think thoughts that are in harmonious vibration with you. That sets up the action, and you get X-type results. Now, X is the unknown factor. So it'll work for every person in this room. I don't care what kind of results you're getting. Now, this is a process that's being explained here. Here's the second phase of the prospect, or the concept. The first one I refer to as bondage. That is where most people spend their life, right there. And they very rarely change much in their life. Now, some people live a long time like this. I lived like this till I was 26, and then I broke away. Wasn't easy, but I did. Now, here's the second phase. An idea from outside will come in, a why idea. The why idea is not in harmony with the X-type conditioning. However, as long as you keep it in your consciousness, everything's cool. Nothing happens. So you can sit and you can talk to somebody about it, and you can think about it. And it may be, I think I'll move to another country. I was talking to a lady over here from Greece who now lives in Dubai. That's another country. Was it a scary move when you first moved? It was a scary move, but you moved. When I was on the fire department, that was the best job I'd ever had. I went from working 48 hours a week, 6 days a week, and 1 week out of the month, 7 days, working in a service station, hard, cold work. I went on the fire department. I doubled my income, and I was only working 7 days and 7 nights a month. And when I worked at night, we'd go in at 6 at night till 8 in the morning, or you go in at 8 in the morning till 6 at night. When we go in at 6 at night, we would go out to the kitchen, make something to eat. We'd make our bed and draw our sheets and make our bed and watch TV or play cards or darts for a little while. And then we'd go to bed. We'd get up and go home. It was in a slow haul. It was a real imposition. If anybody started a fire in the middle of the night, we usually sleep all night. I got to the point, I was doing some work on the side. I was earning more money in a month than the chief was earning in a year. Now, at that time, this is way back in 1960, 61, the chief was earning $11,200 a year. And there's only one chief. And I knew I'd never be chief. But I got to the point where I was earning $11,200 a month. And you know something? I was afraid to quit. Because my paradigm said there's security in a job. Did I entertain the idea of quitting? Oh, yeah, I did. I thought about it. I thought about it a lot. I talk about it. Every time I start to get serious about it, it caused so much discomfort, I'd stop. See, you can have the idea about starting that company, about starting that new division, about spending all that money on this. You can entertain these thoughts. Many of you have entertained thoughts in here this weekend. I think I might do that. I think I'll find out more about that. Now, if the paradigm's in charge, it will con you right and left. You talk about a con artist, the paradigm's a master. And the paradigm talks to you. It talks to you. And you answer it. You talk to yourself. And you may be sitting there, I don't talk to myself. That's the way this works. But you will never execute the idea if you don't impress it upon the subconscious mind. Now look at what happens here. This is the terror barrier. Remember I said on the negative side, it goes from doubt to fear to anxiety. Well, understand it just doesn't go from doubt to fear to anxiety. I can't say how fast it goes. Watch. You impress that why and whoo, a terror barrier comes flying up, worried, fear, and anxiety strike, and whoa, right back into bondage. That was so scary. I don't want to ever go back there again. You go to make a move, you step right back. You see, when Doug came in to talk, he had a long list of questions. I knew exactly what it was. If I answered all those questions, he'd come up with another long list. That was the paradigm that was talking to me. It wasn't his intellect at all. That's what the paradigm will do. It keeps causing you to ask questions, ask questions, ask questions, ask questions, and you never get out of it. How many catch themselves doing that?
Sometimes I ask a bunch of questions. Oh, yeah.
Interesting. Well, you see, when you
still
impress that
happens.
idea upon your subconscious mind, all hell breaks loose. There is this imaginary terror barrier, and you hit it and you bounce off it, and it's very real. You can get sick to your stomach. Worry, fear, and anxiety strike just like lightning, and you bounce off that terror barrier and you go right back to bondage. Well, I may not have much on this job, but at least I know what I'm getting. Bondage is where you play it safe. Did you ever hear when you're a kid, it's better to be safe than sorry? That isn't true. That's not true at all. That's a lie. But people believe it. Now look at it. Are we going to let the terror barrier stop us? Faith based on understanding is the key to freedom. I love the way Joseph Campbell put it. He said, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. You have to understand what it is that's scaring the daylights out of you. It's an imaginary idea. It's a dumb idea. Let's suppose you do fail. Who cares? You failed lots of times anyway. Everybody here has failed often. Your life didn't come to an end. The whole world didn't stop. Failing's a natural part of winning. Are we going to stay on the safe side of the terror barrier? You're not going to enjoy much of a life if you do. You got to make up your mind. You're going to go right through that sucker, just bing. Now, when you do, you step out and you act. Do you eliminate the fear?
No.
Hell no. What's causing the fear? The conditioning is still there, and you're impressing the why idea. That sets up a conflicting vibration inside. That's what's causing the turmoil. But if you understand that's what's causing the turmoil, you can face it, you can live with it, and you can keep going. And it's through repetition of getting emotionally involved that finally the X is gone. And you're comfortable now in the new role. You know what that means? The Y now has become the new X. And you start all over again.
It never ends.
Who knows that, Kate?
You always develop.
It's strange, isn't it? God, you beat the boat, and now there's something else that's there tugging at you. You thought once you got past that boat, everything would be clear sailing. Now you're going for the condo. Well, that's the way this works. You got to go through it. You got to step out and take it. You got to make it happen. And when you do, it's scary. But boy, do you ever like yourself for doing it. I would recommend you pay really close attention to this. There's a power flowing into your consciousness. And you have a choice of what you're going to do with it. You have that choice.
Mhm.
On one side is ignorance, and the other side is knowledge. Now, as this power flows in, we can choose what we're going to do. Make no mistake, it never stops flowing. It's flowing to and through us constantly, even while we're sleeping. Ignorance is simply not knowing. Why would a person choose to do that? They have taken a power that has no form. It's just a clear, unadulterated creative power flowing in, and instantly and automatically, they turn it into a negative concept. Now, the negative idea impressed upon the subjective mind puts you in a negative emotional state. And that's what fear is. Whatever's impressed must be expressed through the body. So it manifests as anxiety. Now, anxiety is not expressed, anxiety is suppressed. That's a negative energy that's suppressed. It's blocked up and held inside, and that's where our depressions come from. That depression turns into dis-ease, a body that's not at ease. And the dis-ease, of course, turns to disintegration. Now, why would an individual do that? Well, right at the top is the cause of the problem. It's ignorance. In fact, that is the only cause of any problem anywhere in the world. It's ignorance. So how do we get around that? Well, let's go back and think. Faith based on understanding is the key to freedom. Faith is the ability to see the invisible. There's an infinite source of supply. You can see anything you want. Why would we go with something we don't want? I'll tell you why. Paradigms. We're programmed to do that. So we get an image of what we do want. We impress it upon our subjective mind. That is called faith. The faith then moves us into a physical vibration called well-being. The well-being is expressed. You can actually pick up the energy from another person to move into that vibration. The expression is then accelerated. Remember, on the other side, it was dis-ease. Here, they're at ease. The other side was disintegration. On this side, it's creation. Now, you've got a choice. You can go that way or that way. This is a choice we've got. If you stop and think of everything that you've got going for you, my goodness, your potential goes way beyond the scope of your imagination. You know, you and I have a choice, and I think we know that. You see these two little symbols there, the negative and the other side, the positive. Well, that's the truth about life. Now, in truth, everything just is. We make it positive or negative. I like the way Ralph Waldo Trine wrote in his book, nothing is good or bad except our thinking makes it so. See, where one person sees something as bad, another person may see the good in it. There's good in everything. Everything just is. We make it good or bad. Well, you come into this business, you didn't come in it to lose. You come in it to win. And I think you come in to have a good time. Well, I'm going to show you, if you start doubting your ability, you're on a slippery slope and you're going to go right down. So why would we do that? There's two sides of life. I can see the red and the black, or the red and the green, go and stop. Well, let's look at it. We have a choice. Now, on one side is ignorance. On the other side is knowledge. It's the knowledge that we want to get involved in. That's really what we want to be involved in. We want to get to the knowledge, and there's only one way to get to it, and that's study, as we're going to talk about. So let's think. Let's really think. We have the ability to think anything we want. We can think the positive or the negative, whatever we want. On the one side, we have the positive. On the other side, we have the negative. Why would you choose negative over positive? Well, we don't actually choose negative over positive, and yet we do. What's going on? Well, we let present situations get us all messed up. You know, we come into this and we decided we're really going to win, but we take a look and we start to worry. Why are we worrying? Well, we wonder if we've made the right decision. We start to doubt ourselves. Now, that is a very slippery slope, because I'm going to show you it leads to nowhere but disaster. Now, the other side, you have a choice. What's over there? Well, that's where the green side, that's where the grass is greener. That's where the understanding is. Now, there's only one way to develop understanding, and that's your studying. What do we want to understand? Let's understand there's no need of worrying. Worrying is choosing a negative concept. We want to choose the positive. You see, if we go back and think about it, it's all negative, or we can turn it positive. How do we do that? We begin to think. We do that through study, and we understand that there's a positive side in life. I don't care what the situation is, there's something good about it. Now, if we don't look there, what do we look at? Well, we stay on the worry and doubt side, and where does it leave us? It leaves us, takes us into fear. That's right. The doubt, the worry, impressed upon the subjective mind, causes fear. If we stay on the other side, where do we go? Well, over there, it's quite a bit different. You see, if you go over there, the understanding leads to faith. What is faith? Faith is the ability to see the invisible, see the result you want, that you have not achieved yet, but you've originated in mind. See the invisible, believe in the incredible. What's incredible? That there is a power within us. That's what the subjective mind is. It's universal intelligence. That'll take any image we turn over to it and literally move it into form. Now, if it's full of fear, that's where the great sufferer in the Bible said, Job, lo, the thing I fear has come to visit upon me. I guess it has. Because you see, you're putting yourself in that vibration. That's all you can attract. Strange thing about faith and fear, both of them demand that you believe in something you can't see. Well, if they both demand it, I think they'll choose the good side. Now let's keep going. If it's doubt and fear, where does that lead? And if it's understanding and faith, where does that lead? Well, let's look. The doubt and fear lead to the only thing you can experience on the physical level, anxiety. That is not a good place to be. Let's suppose we stay on the other side. What's it tell us? Well, over there, it's quite a bit different. First of all, we start out with understanding. That leads to faith, and the faith manifests on the physical plane as well-being. Not as anxiety, but as well-being. Can you see, going down the wrong side, what happens? Where the doubt and worry leave you? Doubt and worry are a psychic disease, and it can set up the only emotions that it can set up. That manifests on the physical plane as anxiety. We're over on the positive side. Understand, what do we want to understand? We understand that we've got the ability to choose. It doesn't matter what the bank account says. We can see what we want, and we will create it. Does that mean you can go and spend it before you get it? No, it doesn't mean that at all. But it does mean that you've got the ability to do it, and it starts out in creation. Okay? Let's keep looking. The anxiety is not expressed. The anxiety is suppressed. We bottle it up inside. That leads to more problems. What's on the other side? Well, let's take a look. Over here, the faith leads to well-being. The well-being leads to expression, not suppression, expression. You see, you don't see a person saying, how are you doing? I'm really excited. You see it in their step, the way they walk, the way they greet people. The other side, where they're suppressing anxiety, it's not good. Where does that lead? When you suppress anxiety, and that's what most people do, it leads to depression. Depression is not a good thing. What do we do then? Well, we get antidepressant pills. God knows what. Go to a doctor. Doctor doesn't understand all this. They don't necessarily understand it all. Rather than depression, what's on the other side? Well, let's take a look at it. Yeah. the expression leads to acceleration, where the suppression leads to depression. The anxiety, polar opposite is well-being. Polar opposite of fear is faith. Polar opposite of doubt and worry is understanding. You see the two of them where it's leading us? My goodness, you want to watch this frequently. Because I'm going to tell you, if you're worried, it's going to lead you to no good. Flip to the other side. Watch these over and over and over again. And you'll notice that if you're worried, it's because you're looking at lack and limitation on the physical plane. But that's caused by past thinking. The right thinking is going to give us what we want. The depression leads to disease. It's over on the other side if we go there. That's where we're at ease. Now stay with me. The disease leads to what? Disintegration. What's the at ease lead to? Now, beautifully creation. See, we can actually create the life we want. Now let's keep this in mind. We have a choice on everything that happens in our life. We have the choice. We can go with good or the bad. Faith based on understanding is the key to freedom. It's faith based on not blind faith. Oh, God will look after it. God will not look after it. God will feed every bird, but he will not put food in the nest. You got to look after it. You've been given that ability. So here we are. You can stay there or you can go over here. What do you want?
I choose knowledge.
That side or that side? It's your choice. I would watch this often if I were you, and I'd stay over here. Get over. Get over. Get over where we understand. Get over where all good energy. That's the green light. That's the
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I'll turn my camera back on. I was just having a quick, when I jumped on the call with Minnie earlier, I made myself some pineapple and pear with some yogurt and hadn't finished it yet. So that's what I was munching on. And I don't think you all want to see me eating. So, so anyways, that's besides the point. So from here, I'm going to close this out and we're just going to go over to the dock. Let's move this out of here so I can. That. Move the dock here. Excuse me. Did it not go to it? There we go. Oh, it was just taking forever. Okay, so I'm going to move this over to the side. Is it loaded? It's not showing my picture though. It's not loading. It's taking forever to load. Let's give it a second here. Make this a little bit bigger. Okay. All right, so I made this on Canva. Spring into action, because it is through this we find our faith, right? If we're in action, we're finding that understanding. And as you heard from Bob Proctor, he says faith through understanding is the key to your freedom. So if you're in constant action, you find the understanding and we find our faith. So bonus lesson, time, consistency, and results. Wow, what a way to share. Your results are based on the continual action you put forward. And through this action, you will find consistency because faith is developed through action. And Bob Proctor says that we need not know how, we just need to have a burning desire with a definite course of action, okay? So I just put these two things on, and like I said, there's just a couple audios here. Jim Rohn is an amazing guy. He teaches quite the lessons. In this book here, he's just going to share some insights on some strategies to help you create wealth and happiness. Okay. And this one here, it's just an audio to listen on habits, right? It's going to tell you some negative habits. It's going to tell you some positive habits. And basically, it's going to help you rethink and get different results, right? It's going to really give you some remarkable results within this audio as well, to kind of give you that scoop of how it works. As you can see on here, it says tiny changes, remarkable results. And I believe that, I can't remember who actually says it, but every success has been like every huge success was added up through little tiny successes. Just like Les Brown says that you don't have to be great to really get started. You just got to get started to be great, right? So whatever you want to do, just go out and do it. You need not know how to do it. Okay. It's the beautiful thing about it, to be honest. Not knowing the how, because that's the adventure, right? The how it will be presented once that decision is made, and we clearly read that earlier as well. So I'm excited, and I hope you guys are too. Continue this journey, because the journey never really ends. Okay. I want to actually congratulate you guys and really thank you for taking the time out of your day on Saturday to really consistently add up your success, right? The more we apply these techniques, the more we're going to bring results, right? So I suggest every lesson that we went into, just keep re-listening to it. Keep plugging yourself in, because as you heard earlier, Bob in that video, he specifically said that he listened to that audio attitudes in the Lead the Field many times for multiple years. And it only clicked with him after that much time. And now he's the man who he is today, right? So consistency and repetition is really key. So yeah, so I'm really excited to hear you guys' thoughts of the entire overall of this program. And yeah, what did you guys think of it? And this lesson, of course.
Yeah, I thought obviously it's of great benefit, but there's so much information there that you're never going to stop going over it to be able to get the full benefit out of it. Because you can't, unless you've got like a photographic memory. And it's not just hearing it and going through it, it's also applying the stuff into your life as well. You know, again, it's making it habit, making it a part of your life. So yeah, I mean, thank you very much for setting this up. I mean, it really is information overload. I mean, sometimes it felt like you were almost like a university student with the amount of work you had to go through. But
I totally understand. Like I said, this 14 weeks was the beta testing. So now I understand how much information to throw into things and what not to throw in, right? So
no, I think it's great because the information's there. So even if we didn't absorb it all the first time because of the vast quantity of information, it's far better to have too much than too little. Because you can always go back and always reabsorb. You can always learn one thing more that you didn't get from the first time. So it's a great advantage to have it. So I really appreciate it. It's like you say, a continual work in progress. It's never a completion.
for sure. Thank you for your thoughts on the program. I really appreciate that. Minnie, are you with us, or are you still in? I don't know if she's back or not. Let me shoot her a text here quickly.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh, there you are. Excellent.
I'm here. I'm just in the shower, but I'll say a real quick thing. It was a fantastic program, and I'm really glad that we started with the mindset portion. You have a lot of wonderful mentors, Pam, and I'm so honored that you were able to pass that info along to us. And like Audley said, we can always keep going back to it, which is super fantastic, because even a lot of the stuff that you were teaching us, I started teaching other people. And, like you were saying, it's a journey, right? So the things that we didn't get right the first time, we'll get them hopefully the second time. And if not the second time, the third time. And that's the beautiful part about failing our way forward, right? Is that's how we get to perfection. And it's about progress, not perfection. So yeah, and this stuff it's universal. It's meant for everything in our lives. It's not meant for one specific thing. So yeah, it was a fantastic program, and I'm excited to start back at class 1, May 1st, with the newbies. It should be interesting. So yeah, I actually brought my laptop into the bathroom because I didn't want to miss this part of the class. I knew that I was still going to be in the shower. So
Awesome. Well, like I said, I want to thank you guys for your guys' opinions, and I'm excited to really watch your guys' journey. 2020 is a year for advancement, and as I say that, you see 2222 on Bitcoin. I just see numbers all the time when I say things that are inspirational, and sometimes I don't even have to say inspirational things. I see the numbers. And it's those times where you need to really, if numbers follow you anyways, if you see sequences, in those times, just question your thoughts. Also question, is there something that I need to take action on if you're seeing those numbers, right? In my experience, the reason why I'm sharing this is because when I've actually followed those numbers, something amazing happened. Okay. And I just wanted to share that with you because it happens for everybody. And that's where I'm really gonna close out the recording, because it's something that was on my heart, and I had to share it with you guys.